Lake Mead forecast, more southwest water cuts likely in 2023. More extreme water cuts are all but certain in the southwest starting next year, including new water cuts for California, according to the latest government forecast for the Colorado River and Lake Mead, the country's largest reservoir. Lake Mead, which provides water to roughly 25 million people in Arizona, Nevada, California, and Mexico, is losing water at an alarming rate amid an extraordinary, multi-year drought made worse by the climate crisis. Because of the reservoir's plummeting level, states that rely on water from the lower Colorado River were already subject to the cuts that accompany a Tier 1 shortage beginning in January 2022, which have mainly impacted agricultural water use. But this year did not bring much needed precipitation to the river basin. The latest report from the US Bureau of Reclamation shows Lake Mead at just over 1,040 feet above sea level in July, having dropped nearly 10 feet in just 2 months, and is currently at just 27% of its maximum capacity. More critically, the Bureau predicts the reservoir will be at nearly the same level, around 1,041 feet, come January. If that forecast holds in next month's report, which is what federal officials will use to determine cuts for 2023, the Southwest will be subject to a Tier 2 water shortage and the fresh cuts that come with it, starting in January. At 1,050 feet, a Tier 2 shortage is declared, further decreasing the amount of water Arizona, Nevada, and Mexico can use from the Colorado River. If the forecast is below 1,045 feet, which the latest forecast would suggest, then parts of California would be forced to cut its Colorado River water consumption, too. At Tier 3, something the forecast suggests is possible starting in January 2024, water cuts could be deep enough to extend beyond agriculture and impact household and industrial water use. Importantly, the Bureau of Reclamation studies are based on historical data from the 1990s, a much wetter period in the West, said Eric Kuhn, a retired former manager of the Colorado River Water Conservation District. This means that the most probable 24-month study should be considered to have a wet or optimistic bias, Kuhn told CNN, which suggests that it's likely the actual levels will run a bit below what the Bureau is predicting. He also cautioned that the Pacific Ocean is heading into its third La Niña year in a row, which is a very rare event. La Niña, defined by cooler-than-average water in the equatorial Pacific, has a strong influence on weather in the U.S. West. Individual La Niña years can be wet or dry for the Colorado River Basin, Kuhn said. But in consecutive La Niña years there is a very clear trend toward drier years. The combination of dry soils, a third La Niña and critically low reservoirs levels is a major concern. And what happens upstream is of critical importance to Lake Mead. The reservoir's forecasts are also now accounting for the falling water level and the government's emergency actions at Lake Powell, Mead's upstream neighbor and the country's second-largest reservoir. Last spring, the Bureau of Reclamation announced an unprecedented strategy to boost water levels in Lake Powell and maintain electricity production from the Glen Canyon Dam, including releasing more water from smaller, upstream reservoirs while withholding water in Lake Powell itself instead of sending it downstream to Lake Mead.